Well, giving God the glory for another great day and being a Bulldog. Had a heck of a game Sunday. Just a heck of a basketball game. I really believe A&M's a top 25 basketball team, and was proud of our kids. That second quarter it makes me as a coach want to go back and try to duplicate that thing 4 times in the course of a game, because that's as good as we go, 26-9. And we've had some quarters like that this year, so that's the challenge for me the last couple days and nights, is trying to figure out how to duplicate that. But just really proud of our team. Again, I think we beat a really good basketball team, and so got to move on to the next one. Auburn is playing well. Veteran team, got 4 starters back. Play a style that's really hard to handle and deal with. It's something they do extremely well. It's not unique, and so it's difficult sometimes to prepare for in 2 days. So we've got our work cut out for us. The good thing is we're a little bit of a veteran team. We've had to deal with it now for a few years, and so we're going to have to go on the road and really compete at a high level against a really well-coached and good basketball team. Got good players. The 2 guards, really a good shooter. Firking is just a heck of a basketball player, leading them in scoring, leads the conference in steals. She's just hard, tough, hard-nosed kid, and my kind of player. So she's hard to deal with, and so we've got 2 days to get ready and go play on the road in the SEC.
You mentioned trying to duplicate the second quarter. I'm sure if you knew what the problem was, you'd be able to nail it down. But what are some of the issues that's keeping your team from playing the full 4 quarters, or from duplicating that, I guess, in more quarters than just 1 or 2?
Sure. I think part of it's ball movement and just offensive rhythm. I think some of it's our defense. We kind of got going in transition a little bit. We were feeding off our energy on defense, coming down on offense and doing some good things. In that second quarter, our inside players were really dominant, and we got away from that during the course of the ball game. And so we've got to learn to trust those 2 down low. They're shooting at a really high number, and we need to give them more looks. At the same time, we got to get them ready for double teams and how to handle that and have a little patience. But I think more than anything, it's just that offensive continuity, and sometimes you lose that through substitution. Sometimes we haven't lost it, we've actually gained it. And so, that's the challenge for us. But again, y'all, I don't want to be peaking in January. And so we'll keep working on it. We're going to spend a lot of time on it today, and we're going to work on out-of-bounds defense too.
Does the ball movement necessarily encourage sharing the basketball and lead to assists, or is that something that's more of a mindset that needs to be more consistent throughout 40 minutes?
I think the one thing that you notice with our group is the more people touch the ball, the more turnover sometimes we can have. If that ball stays in Morgan's hands, a lot of times we don't turn that ball over. And so it's a mind, sometimes it's a lesser of 2 evils. But, I've got to do a better job. We've got to do a better job getting our kids ready and enhancing skill sets, improving ball handling skills, decision making, all that. You're fixing to go against a team that's going to press you, trap you, zone trap you, the whole game. And so you're not going to be real comfortable. You're going to have to be in attack mode most of the game and stay that way. And so you're going to have some substitution. You're going to have some continuity, obviously, there. And you're going to have great decision-making against Auburn. If you make a bad decision against them, it's going to be a layup the other way. You're not going to beat them turning the ball over, because if you turn it over against them in the press, it usually leads to an easy layup, and that's what they feed off of. I mean, they've turned 25-11 deficits in the first quarter against Tennessee into 20-point wins. I mean, that's a 30-point turnaround in 3 quarters, and so they're more than capable. And so they have our utmost attention and respect. We know what we're dealing with. We've got to now go get ready. The good thing again is our kids have had to deal with it before, and we've had some success.
When Rose been relatively healthy, you've turned to her down the stretch, Iowa State, South Carolina, another night as well. What does she do when she's healthy, when she's able to get to 100%? What does she do for your team, especially late in ball games? And what's kind of special about her that allows you to really kind of speak highly of her and think highly of her?
Well, two things. One, she can stretch you, shooting a three, and two, she can create off the bounce. She is really smart. She's got that hesitation move, the change of direction. She's got it all. And I said it last year in October when she was the best player on our team, and we didn't even know she was pregnant at the time when she was practicing. She was the best player on our team, and I told her, I said, she'll have a chance to be a pro. I mean, the kid can really do a lot of things scoring the ball. And quick, I mean, when she's got her quickness back, she's a good defender. She's got really quick hands. She can rip you. If you're handling that ball loose. And so I think that's one of the things that attracted her to us was our style of play when she decided she was going to transfer. And so the kid's special. And I could see it in her eye the other night. She wanted the ball in that moment. She had confidence. And, boy, she made some really big shots for us there late.
When you first arrived, and I know different personnel, different situation, but that team had an issue with turnovers and learning how to rally the basketball like you wanted your point guards to. How much of an adjustment or a transition do you think that you've made in the sense that now that you guys value the basketball more in taking that next step into sharing it a little bit better?
Well, I think, again, it all has to do with skill set and personnel. Our point guard play is really good right now. Jerica, who we inherited, was so young at the time. It wasn't her fault. She was just young and inexperienced. But her and Katia were the first couple years were our point guards, and they just needed tutelage. And they needed experience, which they got. And they got better and better and better. And so, by the time Jerica graduated, she was really good, especially in the half court. She had a presence about her. She was calm. She had an understanding for what needed to take place. Really a good floor general in the half court, whereas Morgan was our, Speedy Gonzalez. She got us up and down in transition, and it was a great change of pace. So I think now what we've had Morgan having to learn to be that half court general, and at the same time, Jazz has a lot of the same traits Morgan has in that she's great in the open floor, but she's still learning the half court piece, and she's getting it. Morgan's done some really good things for us, and we would be nowhere near where we are without both of those kids. So they both carry a very, very important role with us. Those two battle every day in practice, and I'm really pleased with both of them.
McKay for Auburn, arguably one of the most improved players in the league. I know that you've watched some tapes.
No question, and just hard to deal with. They lost Tanner, but they hadn't lost a beat, and again, just long, athletic, quick. Again, they understand their style of play and play it so well. But those kids play really hard too. I mean, they're playing every defensive possession as hard as they can, as long as they can, and do just really make life miserable for you. So we've got to stay on our toes. We can't get on our heels. We can't let people attack us. We've got to stay in attack mode. And I thought that second quarter we were in attack mode the other night. We didn't settle. We were really getting after it and attacking inside with our bigs. I thought we were going off the bounce some, and so we've got to continue to stay in that mode, and if we do, I think that's when we're really, really good. When we get walking around on offense and taking too long to get into plays and things like that, it just changes the whole demeanor and the whole dynamic of the game, the whole pace. I think we're better at a little bit quicker pace, and we just, if we're going to go 15, we need to throw 600 punches. We don't need to throw 300 and be dodging 500. And that's what it feels like sometimes when we're on offense. We're wanting to stand there and just go punch, punt, toe to toe instead of, man, we gotta get some quickness going to our stuff, and we just don't have, sometimes we get in that lull, and we can't do that.
Where do you think that comes from? Because you just said that, you know, Morgan was really good at Speedy Gonzalez, and, you know, you would think that she's more accustomed to be going like that, not necessarily in the half court, but a little bit more pace.
Yeah, I think sometimes her half court means it's slow down half court instead of, we may be running half court offense, but we gotta get into it quicker. You know, we don't need to be getting into our offense with 15 seconds on the clock. And I think that's the piece that, again, comes, there's games where she is really locked in and communicating and calling plays out and getting people where they need to be, and then there's other games where it's not quite as animated and not quite as, you know, their voice isn't quite as loud or demanding. And again, I think that's the learning curve that you're dealing with. Last year here at home, Dawn played some point. I was watching the film last night in the office, and you know, she was really good, demonstrative, getting people where they needed to get to, running an offense when that's really not what she does. But she has an understanding of what we do offensively. And what that did was allowed me to have two shooters on the floor in Tori and Blair. And so, you know, we'll look at a bunch of different combinations, and everybody's going to have to play. We're not going to change. We're still going to play our normal rotations and probably play maybe even some other things different. So we've got to continue doing what we're doing. The thing for us is, my challenge to our kids is just let's get 1 minute better today. Let's get one play better today. Every day, let's try to get one play 1 minute better and keep working. And I think at the end of the year, if you're doing that, you've added up a bunch of minutes and a bunch of plays, and you got a chance.
You talked a few days ago about intangibles and you know, the different rotations bring different things. You know, Blair and Katera are so good with the screening. Do you see other kids picking up on those intangibles, particularly with the ability to screen a defender? Because it's almost impossible to miss the success that you guys when Zion has a layup off of a screen from Blair, or Kateris goes up and sets a screen to free up Victoria for a jumper. Do you see that trickle down going to other players like Bree and to carry that?
Well, I haven't seen it yet. If you noticed on Sunday, we scored on 1 out of 9 out of bounds plays, and Blair wasn't in for any of them. And you know, Johnny's talked to me about putting Blair in for every out of bounds play. You know, back in the day, some of y'all are old enough to remember Phi Slamma Jamma. They brought in a kid off the bench for every out of bounds play. And he came in every time there was an out of bounds play. He was the guy that came in and threw it in. And you know, I've thought about that, because either she's on the floor stretching it, or she's on the floor setting the screen, and so that's a piece that I've got to figure out and try to figure out what's important in that situation, because she was on the floor a lot the other night setting really good screens, freeing up kids either on the half-court offense or out of bounds plays, and we don't really have that person. I mean, she's it as far as being the really good one. And so I've got to do a better job coaching and teaching and getting some other people to understand the importance of that role, because that's an important role. So that being said, our out-of-bounds plays, y'all, all year have been really good. And Johnny does a great job with them. She's in charge of those, and she does a tremendous job with our out-of-bounds plays. That's a lot of film watching, trying to watch somebody's tendencies, watch how they guard the ball. Are they on the ball? Are they in the lane? If they're in the, you know, if they're in one spot or the other, then that allows you to do some other things. And so there's a lot of film study that goes into attacking somebody on their out-of-bounds defense. Are they in zone? How are they playing the zone? Do they turn their back to the ball, or are they all facing it? I mean, there's so many things that you wouldn't even think of, that we think of to give our kids an advantage. And y'all have heard me say this. Our job is to try to give our kids 6, 8 points somewhere in the ball game, whether it's a out-of-bounds play, a half-court set, something that maybe the other team we've seen can't handle, can't guard, doesn't know about, whatever. We've got to be worth that every ball game for our kids.
Your thoughts on Tennessee and South Carolina and how it affects Mississippi State?
Well, heck of a game. I mean, again, just another knockdown, drag out in the league. I mean, it just shows the parity in our league. You know, I enjoyed watching the game. I certainly knew what it was like to be in it, the week before. And so just, hats off to both teams. Just a tremendous basketball game. And, the winner always makes one more play in those kinds of games. And so, but it was, for once it was nice to sit back and be able to watch the game and really enjoy two teams competing at the highest level. I mean, really proud for our conference again, national TV, to have two teams just going toe-to-toe with each other was really, really good, I think, for our league.
Any effect on Mississippi State or yet to be determined?
Well, there's just so much left to me to so many games left. We got 8 games left to play, and we got 4 at home, 4 on the road. We've got a really tough road schedule with Auburn, Kentucky, A&M, and Ole Miss, and our home schedule's no better with Missouri, Tennessee, Georgia, and Vanderbilt. So it just you just can take one at a time. That's all you can do. But there's a lot of basketball left to be played. Obviously, today our kids should feel like, hey, I always felt like we were still in the hunt and still had a chance. But now you got to realize, hey, you're right there. All we can control is ourselves. It's all y'all guys can control in life. You can just control yourself. You can control your attitudes. You can control things within your own homes. And that's all we can control is ourselves. And you know what? That's enough. That's good enough. If we control ourselves every day and every night when we go compete, that's going to be enough. Now, you're going to have to go deal with some really honorary people, some really good players and some great coaches and some great teams in the next 8, but we control it. So it's, it'll be February, today's January 31st, and we're tied for first in the Southeastern Conference. So, again, we'll try to live it, do the best we can, and keep working at it.
In a league full of improving teams, is Auburn one of the most improved?
No question. I think they're really 5-3, I think, right now, and again, she's done it through recruiting and retention of their players, and to have 4 starters back, and just a real quality team, and they continue to do a good job down there, and again, we have a lot of respect for them and what they're doing, and again, their style of play. We have our style of play, they have their style of play, and I think for anybody that plays either one of us, it's unique and different, and it makes us who we are. So what they do very, very well, and so you have to really respect that, which we do.
Any other questions? All right, thanks, Coach.